What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is time. It is UFC 299. It's the Suga Show in Miami. We're here. We got a full main card breakdown plus some bonus fights of the banger card. Let's rock. I'm ready, bro. I know you're ready.
Oh man, time has been going by so damn slow this week. This is the only thing I could think about is UFC 299. Suga Sean defending his throne, shutting all of you haters out there up because we hear it, we see it. Everybody's turning on our guy Suga now, and we're gonna break it down why he's gonna win this fight and why he shouldn't be getting as much hate as he is. How you doing?
Sir.
First off, on this beautiful day?
I'm
Two
good.
more sleeps.
I'm excited. I'm ready for this card. I think it's added the last couple of days. We've had some more storylines. I'm getting the butterflies. So whenever that happens, I know it's getting close. So I'm ready to rock, man. I'm ready to see this. He's one of the biggest shows in the sport and sports in general. So I'm excited.
The press conference was electric today. It was so loud up there. Can't lie, I didn't love Suga's fit, but it is what it is. You know, he's got to do his thing, be a bright light out there, attract a lot of haters, a lot of fans, because in this business, we all know haters are as valuable as fans. They're still going to tune in, buy the pay-per-view, watch, try and see you get knocked out. They're going to follow you either way. So let's just get right into it. We've got a bunch of insane, we've got a bunch of insane ass fights on this card.
Yes,
We'll
sir.
start it off with a legend of the game. We've got Rafael Dos Anjos taking on Mateusz the Gamer Gamrot. For any of y'all that don't know about RDA, he is a straight legend. He has the 5th most fights in UFC history. He has the 7th most wins in UFC history. He has the most fight time in a UFC octagon by a mile. He spent 8 hours and 26 minutes in the octagon. And he's a former champ. He beat Anthony Pettis for the 155 belt back in 2015. Made his UFC debut all the way back in 2008. So he's been around for a long time. He's coming off a loss against Vicente Luque up at welterweight, but now he's moving back down to take on another top guy at the 155-pound division in Mateusz Gamrot. Gamrot is very grappling heavy. It's not the most exciting fighter to watch, but you can't deny the fact that he is very, very good. He's coming off a win versus Fiziev, which Fiziev did get hurt in. But yeah, how are you feeling about this one? Big age difference. We've got RDA 39 years old, Gamrot 33.
Yeah, I'm excited for this matchup. Obviously a legend of the sport, RDA, but I'm a big fan of Gamrot, just his technicality. Much as I love RDA, I think just a bad matchup here. Maybe if we're talking 4 or 5 years ago, obviously it's a different story, but I think in this one, I'm all over Gamrot here. I just don't think that RDA at this stage in his career is better at anything than Gamrot. I don't see a path to victory, so I'm all over Gamrot here by decision.
Yeah, the only edge I would really give RDA is experience, but I don't know how much that's really going to do because Gamrot is an extremely smart fighter as well. I think Gamrot's just going to fight almost a Marab type fight out there. It might be even through the first round and a half, but I think the age is just going to kind of start to show for RDA. I want RDA, but yeah, it's a tough one for him. You got any bets in this one that you like if you had to pick like a specific method or over under on rounds or anything like that?
I think this fight goes the distance. I would imagine it's a lot of juice. I didn't look into this one. But yeah, I mean, I would probably say Gamrot by decision and over 2.5, over 1.5 rounds. I think it goes the full 15.
Yep, Vegas agrees with you. On my book, I had Gamrot by decision at -165.
Like that.
And then RDA by decision at +600. So if you're a big RDA fan, if you're just feeling some type of way, you could get some pretty good value for that.
Yeah.
This next matchup, interesting heavyweight matchup we've got on our hands here. Curtis Razor Blaydes taking on Jailton Almeida. Almeida has been on a tear in the UFC. I believe he has an 89% finish rate through his first honestly, I'm not sure how many fights he has in the UFC, but about 6 or 7. And he has an 89% finish rate. He spent 88% of his fights on top position, which is insane. Like the time during his fights. But he's never fought somebody like Curtis Blaydes. Curtis Blaydes has been well known as one of the best wrestlers in this heavyweight division. And he's a good striker as well. and Vegas agrees. It's an even money fight right now, or maybe Blaydes at a slight favorite, depending on your book. I kind of like Curtis here. I can't lie. I heard his media day, and he's talking about Almeida. He said Almeida is very one-dimensional. He throws a teep kick to the body, and he goes in for the takedown. And I think if Blaydes keeps this on the feet, it will be a rough night for Jailton. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, I was kind of torn on this one too. Really good matchup here. I just think Curtis's experience gets him over the top. I think he can hang in the striking department with Almeida. And then it gets to the ground. I think obviously you got to watch out for Almeida's submissions, but I just think Curtis is a good enough grappler, good enough wrestler to be able to control some of the exchanges on the ground. So just off pure experience here and just the line, I think I'm going to go Curtis Blaydes here.
Agreed. And Curtis Blaydes, his 4 losses in the UFC are to huge power punchers. He lost to Francis Ngannou twice. He lost to Derek Lewis on that nasty uppercut, and he lost to Sergey Pavlovich by that nasty KO. And I don't think Jailton Almeida possesses that same kind of power in his hands that those guys do. So I'm all over Curtis Blaydes here. It might be the fight that I feel the most confident about outside of the main event.
Yeah. Also, I mean, Almeida's a one big win away here from putting himself in the title talk.
Yeah, agreed. Maybe, I don't know who would be a good matchup for him next, but I agree. He'll be right up in the mix. It's kind of tough because he's vicious, knocked out by a few of the top guys. I don't really know what. I don't think either of these guys really pose that big of a threat to Aspinall or John just because they're on another level. But Almeida, you would think he's younger than 32 also, just with how his UFC career's gone so far.
That was one because I noticed too early. I was like, I was kind of on Almeida just because I thought like he had youth, but then you look at the teletape and they're similar in age. So obviously Curtis Blaydes, the experience at that age. But.
I like that. And now we move on to the main card of the evening. We've got a banger matchup at bantamweight up next on the slate. We've got Petr No Mercy Yan taking on Song Yadong Song, whatever it is. I'm not really sure. But Petr Yan coming in as a minus 140 favorite. He's been on a slide, though. For any of you guys that don't know, Petr Yan looked like he was going to be the best bantamweight of all time. He took out Jose Aldo for the vacant belt. He was 7-0 in the UFC. He was dominating Aljamain Sterling in his first title defense. And then he threw the illegal knee heard around the world. Lost the belt to Aljo versus DQ. Lost the rematch via split decision. Lost to Suga Sean via split decision. Got smacked by Merab. He did have a good win versus Corey Sandhagen mixed in there, but it has been a crazy turn of events for Petr in the last 2 years. And Song Yadong, on the other hand, 26 years old, already has the 3rd most knockouts in bantamweight history. He has a lot of fights in the UFC for only being 26. He already has 13. But I think I like Petr here. Just with the technicality, it's just going to depend on where his head's at after that last fight versus Merab.
Yeah, so when I first seen this fight and I seen the lines, I was all over Song Yadong. Then I started doing some research. Obviously, Petr Yan lost to Suga Sean, split decision, fight could have gone either way. We've been on record of saying that. Obviously, now it looks like a great loss for Petr. Sean's defending his belt this weekend. More than likely going to obviously win this weekend, continue to be a champion. But you look at other than that fight, Petr Yan just been unlucky, had bad matchups. Merab, wrestler. Aljo, wrestler. His last 2 fights against strikers, Suga Sean O'Malley, who now is the champion, split decision. Again, many people think Petr Yan won, not disagreeing. Then a win versus Corey Sandhagen. So I think in a matchup like this, where it's going to be a kickboxing matchup, they're going to stand and they're going to bang, they're going to strike. Until Petr Yan proves he can't do it, which he did against Suga Sean, he did against Corey Sandhagen, I got to ride Petr Yan here. I just don't see, he's too talented to be 1-5 in his last 6 fights. I just don't see that. There's no way that's going to happen. There's no way that can happen. So I'm just going to take that. Obviously, yes, if it's anyone else, you look at it like, damn, they've lost 4 of their last 5. They're trending downwards, but I don't think it's that with Petr. I think he's just been really unlucky.
I agree. And the only loss that you could say was a bad definitive loss was Marab. And that was just a not great stylistic matchup for Petr. And Marab just looks like he's on another planet right now. So that loss will probably age very well also. And Song Yadong, before his last 2 wins over Ricky Simon and Chris Gutierrez, he did have that fight versus Corey Sandhagen, which Corey was beating him in, getting the better of him by a little bit, and then it got stopped in the 4th by a doctor stoppage because of a cut. Corey ended up winning, and we saw Petr beat Corey. So just using the common opponent there, obviously fighters evolve, fighters' mindsets change, but I like Petr here.
Yeah, I'm all over Petr here too. I agree.
All right, dude, every single fight on this card is nuts.
Yeah.
I think I've said it on here before. I think the top 7 or 8 fights on this card beats 300, but 300 as a whole probably still gets the edge.
Yeah.
Next up, welterweight matchup. Gilbert El Dorino Burns taking on one of my favorite fighters, one of the best boxers in the UFC, Jack Della Maddalena. Burns, coming off of a unanimous decision loss to Bilal Muhammad, did hurt his shoulder in the beginning of that fight, gutted it out. JDM coming off of 2 split decision wins versus Kevin Holland, and the one I really want to get into is the one before that, his fight versus Basil Hafez. I think that fight, Jack Della Maddalena versus Basil Hafez, might be telling of how this one goes, because Jack was piecing him up on the feet. And he kept on trying to jump on a guillotine choke. For whatever reason, he engaged in grappling, which isn't his strong suit. And without fail, at least 5 times, Hafez was able to reverse the position, get in mount, do some damage, get some good scoring in the judges' eyes. And Jack almost, I don't want to say let him win that fight, but I feel like he kind of let him back into it. And if you guys know Gilbert Burns, there are 2 different versions of Gilbert Burns, I feel like. When he fights an elite striker, such as Wonderboy Thompson, he just goes straight for the grappling. He doesn't mess around on the feet. But when he fights a good grappler like Kamaru, Hamzat, Bilal, he tries to stand and bang. I don't believe Gilbert Burns will stand and bang with Jack Della Maddalena much at all. I think he's going to go straight for that vintage Gilbert Burns grappling style matchup. But he's 10 years younger, or 10 years older than Jack, and Jack has good takedown defense. So I'm leaning towards Jack here. I think he keeps it on the feet, pieces him up, maybe gets a TKO. What do you feel about this one?
Yeah, I mean, again, you've got to look at previous fights. Burns' last win versus Masvidal obviously doesn't look great now. At the time, I don't even think it was that great. Unanimous decision loss to Bilal Muhammad. I do think Bilal Muhammad's better than JDM, but like you said, he has to take him down. I don't know if he can take JDM down. And I also don't know if JDM can finish him on the feet. We've seen Gilbert Burns go the distance with Hamzat, and until I see him fall, I don't believe he can. So I'm all over JDM here, yes, for all the reasons you stated, but I do think it goes the distance.
Yeah, and Gilbert Burns, one thing I had to point out that made me kind of lean towards him more is that ever since he got knocked out by Dan Hooker at lightweight a long time ago, he's only lost to Kamaru Usman, Hamzat, and Bilal. And all those guys are elite grapplers, which Jack Della Maddalena is not. But I also think Burns is just I think he's over the hill. I hate to say it. I love Gilbert Burns, but 37 years old against a prime hungry, violent Jack Della Maddalena.
From a betting perspective, I'd rather be right on time with Gilbert Burns' downfall than like too late.
Agreed. A couple bets I do like though. If you are feeling Gilbert Burns, you could get him by submission for around plus 350. I think if he wins, that's how it would be. Because if he gets Jack to the ground, I think Jack's in a lot of trouble down there. And I don't think he makes it to the end of the round if there's a decent amount of time left. If you want to go JDM by KO, TKO, not very juicy. You could get it for plus 150, or you could get JDM for money line at around, I don't know. Some books vary. Some have said 120. My book said minus 180, so I would just see what it says on fight day, or if it's lower, get it now.
Yeah, I think I got JDM at like minus 160.
All right, bet. This next fight, we've got a highly, highly, highly anticipated UFC debut. Probably the most highly anticipated since Michael Chandler took on Dan Hooker a couple of years ago. We've got Kevin Big Mouth Trailblazer Holland welcoming Michael Venom Page, also known as MVP, into the UFC. If you guys haven't watched Michael Venom Page fight, I highly recommend looking up his highlight reel because it's one of the best ones out there in all of combat sports. He has a crazy, crazy style. He dances out there. He almost has a drunk fighting style at some points too. Kind of leans around, wobbles, and then just throws a crazy strike. He's 21-2. One of his losses he was showboating, got leg kicked, got caught with an uppercut, got flatlined. His other loss was to a wrestler, just got held on the ground for majority of the fight. But this is interesting. He's 36 years old. Can't really be in your prime at 36, or it's very unlikely. Kevin Holland is probably the best fighter he's ever fought. Kevin Holland's seen a guy similar to Michael Page in terms of dynamic strikers when he fought Wonderboy. It didn't go great for him, but he was in that fight until he broke his hand. I like Kevin Holland here. I'm sticking with the UFC. What's your take on this one?
Yeah, I'm going Kevin Holland as well. I just think that style that MVP has, Kevin Holland's kind of seen it. And I think it's just from an age standpoint and honestly just a skill standpoint. How do we really know how good MVP really is?
Mm-hmm.
And until that gets proven, I mean, you gotta respect what Kevin Holland has done in the UFC.
Yeah, completely agree, bro. I mean, Kevin Holland went the distance in a close fight with Jack Della Maddalena, who's an elite striker at welterweight. So he's been in there with top level strikers. You can't say the same about MVP, maybe in sparring, but not in a real fight with the cameras on, with the lights on. So until we see it, I'm going to have a hard time betting on MVP here. I think this is going to be it could be a weird fight because they both talk a lot. I think MVP got quoted saying this is going to be the first ever in Octagon podcast during the fight between him and Kevin Holland. So just expect craziness here. And also expect Kevin Holland to get the W. I might even go home by TKO, honestly. I think, or a club and sub. Yeah. We don't want to sleep on Kevin Holland's ground game. He doesn't use it very much, but he's damn good at jiu-jitsu. So if he wobbles MVP, I don't think he's gonna let him back up to the feet like he was doing with Wonderboy. He doesn't have that same respect that he had for Wonderboy. So yeah, I do have to point out, I was watching Holland's media day yesterday, the individual press conference. He sounded a little sick, a little sniffly. You could hear some congestion in his voice. Could just be a smoker's thing. Speaking from personal experience, or he could be sick. I don't know, just something to consider. You have any you have a over under on rounds or a method for us on this one?
I don't. I think Kevin Holland wins. I'm going to bet Kevin Holland to win. I don't know how he does it. I just think he finds a way to get it done.
I like that. Next up, now we've already been in the really big ones. But this one, if I had to put money on a fight of the night, it would be our co-main event. We've got a legend of the game, Dustin the Diamond Poirier, welcoming Benoit Saint Denis to the elite tier of the lightweight division in the UFC. Huge step up in competition for Saint Denis. His last fight, he knocked out Matt the Steamroller Frivola with an elite head kick knockout in Madison Square Garden. Dustin Poirier, obviously, coming off the other end of a head kick knockout. The Justin Gaethje, BMF, in Salt Lake City. I think everyone's kind of in the same boat here. Dustin's obviously had a much better career than BSD so far. Legend in the game. Probably more skilled, but he's coming off a knockout. BSD has all the momentum behind him right now. This is a tough one. Dustin Poirier, he's 6-0 coming off of a loss, but a head kick knockout just feels a little bit different to me. And when you're 35 years old, we know that 35 is the magic number when fighters start to see that drop. But oh man, what's your take on this one?
Yeah, it's tough to see someone who hasn't had really a huge win in the UFC be minus 160, and then Dustin Poirier sitting there at plus 135 and not take the plus 135. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just kind of those classic ones. Like at some point, the tides are going to turn, and you want to be ahead of it rather than behind it. So I'm, I don't know. I mean, all signs point to BSD winning this fight. I myself physically cannot get myself to bet it because if I bet it and lose, I'm gonna be really upset.
Yep.
So I'm fine just staying away. But yeah, I mean, you have to think everything points to Saint Denis winning this fight. But another part of me is just like Dustin Poirier is not losing to this dude.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised one bit if the first minute into the fight, everyone could tell, oh, Dustin is levels above this guy.
Yeah,
But then I also wouldn't be surprised if BSD just kind of runs through him.
yeah.
Does this fight being a 5-rounder change your betting opinion at all?
It does because the reason I like Saint Denis and the reason he has a lot of success is the pressure he has. He brings so much pressure every single time. And I think that can cause Dustin a lot of problems. But also is like if Dustin can weather an early storm in rounds 1 and round 2, what does that pressure look like in 3, 4, and 5? And can Saint Denis pull back, not rush so much, not be in the pocket as much, and just fight a clean technical fight? We haven't seen that, not because he can't, just because he hasn't had to.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be interesting. I don't know. He has to put him away early, and that's the kind of tug of war here is he has to put him away early to win. I don't know if he can put him away early. So that's kind of the battle here. So I don't know. This fight is really interesting. Really, really interesting.
And maybe Saint Denis and his camp kind of goes into this fight with a different mindset that he's had in all his other fights because it's a 5-rounder. Maybe he doesn't fight the way that he usually fights, and it just doesn't go well for him.
Yeah, big again, and it's going to be his first big time fight, big stage. Obviously, he's been in main cards before, but not like this. Dustin's been here before. He's been fighting these fights, so it's going to be tough.
Yep, home fight also for Dustin. He trains in Coconut Creek, so he's just got to drive over to the arena, gets to do everything at his normal gym, whereas Saint Denis had to fly over from France, use other facilities and stuff like that. I don't really know how much it plays into it, but it can't hurt Dustin.
Yeah.
Man. All right. I'll throw our faces on here real quick so y'all can see who we're going with for this main event. We've been waiting for this for so long. We've been calling this. Suga Sean at the top, defending his belt, headlining a card, all eyes on him, and here we are. It's a little heartbreaking to see that the rest of the fan base isn't as excited for it as we are. They love to hate on the guy Suge. But I don't get it. I mean, maybe it's because we've been here throughout the whole rise. We've never been fans of him because he has some crazy one-liners in the press conference or because he says all these cool things. No, it's because he is the most exciting fighter on the UFC roster, and he dedicates his whole life to his craft. Everything he does all year round is focused on him being the best fighter that he could possibly be. One thing he says that always fires me up, he says, in 10 years, I don't want to look back at my career and say, damn, I could have done more. I wish I didn't go to those parties. I wish I just went to those few extra training sessions. I wish I took my recovery a little more serious. No, he's not going to be saying that because he is doing everything that he needs to do right now to be the best fighter that he could be. We both think he's a special athlete, Hall of Fame, GOAT type shit. How do you feel about everyone just hating on our guy right now?
It's weird because obviously, again, and this could have been biased, but I don't think it's this biased. I genuinely thought he was trending toward being the next superstar of the UFC. But then you look at the superstars of the UFC is like, you look at your Izzy's, you look at your John Jones, like a lot of people hate them too. So I don't think this has anything to do with like him not being a star anymore. He's still a star. You can go to Boston right now, he's a star. It's just where we're at. I mean, and just a lot of times it just depends on the moment who you're fighting. A lot of people were Jose Aldo fans when Conor fought. So, I mean, again, you can be a superstar. Not everybody's going to like you. That's the whole point. A lot of people hate Conor McGregor. A lot of people don't like Conor McGregor. still a superstar and a massive star in the sport.
Yeah, facts. Look what we got from our longtime supporter listener of the show, former U.S. Army soldier Garrett Johnson. He said Presser made it seem like it's outside the cage and Suge versus the world. Good, good.
Like
I hope people start putting money.
This is the first fight he's been a favorite in a minute, so we need some underdog feel. We need some underdog mentality.
Yeah, we need you haters to start putting your money where your mouth is, because everyone loves to hate on Suga in the IG comments, but I don't see anyone hating on Suga in the sports book. I don't see the line moving one bit.
Not at all.
You never hear people hate on Suga inside the cage either. You never hear anyone say, oh, he's a boring fighter, doesn't put on good performances, doesn't show up. No, none of that. People just, the hate is that, oh, he's not Conor. Sorry, okay. All right, let's throw the tail of the tape up here and start breaking down this rematch. Even our graphics guys against Suga. Look at that. It's really us versus the world right here, and I love it. Suga shot him.
I don't see any way that Chito Vera can win this fight. There's no path to victory for him. He's not going to sit there and outstrike Sean O'Malley. He's the best. He's one of the best strikers in the sport. Sean O'Malley, be interesting to see if he can come out and pick someone apart for 5 rounds. He went 3 with Petr Yan. I don't think those 3 rounds are going to be already on like the level of like dogfight that it was against Petr Yan. Chito Vera kind of starts slow early, but I'm also not 1,000% sure that Suga can knock him out. I think Suga can win 4 out of 5 rounds, 3 out of 5 rounds. That's all you need. It all depends, but like I said, I'm not worried about Suga going the distance. He went 3 rounds with Petr Yan. Those 3 rounds felt like 6. So I'm not concerned one bit. Like I said, I don't see how Vera can win. I mean, he doesn't have to, but there's also a threat of Suga Sean the takedown there. So I don't see how Chito thinks he can win this fight.
Yeah, the only way I could see it happening is if Chito just eats Suga's punches for 20 minutes, because he is, yeah, like you said, he's insanely durable. He's never been finished in the UFC, knocked out or submitted. Then he just catches Suga with one of those crazy strikes. But I think Suga's eyes are too good, and I think he's too fast. I don't think Chito's going to get a knockout strike within 2 inches of Suga's chin. Suga's going to be 2 steps ahead of him the whole entire fight. You could see in the media day yesterday, not the presser as much today, but he is so locked in on this fight. He hears the noise. He hears everyone doubting him. And he's going to go on there and put on one of the best performances that we have ever seen in combat sports.
I'm ready.
It gives me chills. And Merab is the backup fighter. I love it. If Chito were to pull out and Suga got to spark Merab on Saturday and we could put that whole narrative to bed, good. Because I think Suga sparks Merab as well. And I think he sparks Ilya. And I think he sparks Corey Sandhagen. And I think he sparks Umar Nurmagomedov. And then I don't know who he sparks next, but then he's going to retire as one of the GOATs eventually.
Yes, sir. I'm all for it.
And you can see it too in his movements when he's out there. He just looks like a high-level LeBron James, Patrick Mahomes type athlete. Just a little bit faster than everyone else out there. A little smoother, a little more balanced, just a little bit better timing. There's just something about the guy.
Yes, sir. Let's get these bets up, make these people some money, man.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Your bets for the weekend to earn you a nice little steak dinner. We're going to go Kevin Holland to win, risk 50 to win 37. Michael Olek, you guys know his name, risk 35 to win 43. We're going to go big on the Suga Show, risking 150 to win 60. Then we're going to go JDM, risking 100 to win 62. Our parlay, we're going to go Suga Show, Kyler Phillips, Macy Barber. That parlay is plus 215, 50 to win 108. One of not a juicy parlay, but one of my most confident parlays. So let's go, baby.
I like that parlay a lot. Kyler Phillips, another member of the Team Suga, indirectly trains at the lab with all of them. Honestly, the best bantamweight hotbed in MMA right now is the MMA lab. It just goes under the radar.
Shouts Marcus McGee.
Yup, dude, he's a guy, bro. Marcus McGee is a guy. But Macy Barber, I watched her media day interview, and at first she went out there, and I was like, damn, she's hotter than I remember. And then you look at her neck, and her neck is like the color of my neck, and her face is just straight orange, bro. Just all makeup. But anyway, she's no Tracy Cortez. Let's just put it that way. But she's a better fighter.
I'm excited for this weekend, baby.
Me too. Maybe we'll have to hop on live, just throw it up on the table all hammered like we did last time.
Facts.
And get all the haters in there, talk shit with them all night long. Let's see what we got for comments before we get out of here. Easton McMurray, Suga is not a star. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't really care if he's a star or not because he's going to end up being one of the greatest fighters of all time. I'm not a fan of him because he's a star. Chito Vera, baby. We're going to be hearing a lot of that. And then he's going to be asleep on the canvas.
He's the headliner of this fight card. The fight is in Miami, and they've already announced that it's the most tickets sold all time for that arena. So, I mean, it depends how you define a star. But, I mean, I would say that's a star right there. I don't think Chito's selling out arenas.
No, I don't even think anyone tuned into his last fight versus Pedro.
Yeah, I remember that one. I almost fell asleep.
Yeah, facts. Dude, you know what's funny? Dana White, he always says at the presser, he said, highest gate, whatever. And all the fans cheer. Like, that doesn't mean they just had to spend more money on their ticket. It's like, maybe if you wait to buy your tickets until the week of, then the prices will go down a little bit, and it won't have to be the highest gate.
Ready for him to knock this dude out.
Yeah, sold out the presser. Good. Let him. Colby Covington sells out pressers too, but one of the most boring fighters of all time. Good thing that's not our guy, Suga. And
pressers are free.
Facts. Didn't have to sell a ticket.
Yeah.
Good catch. Good catch. Don't let him be gaslighting us out here. All right, you got any closing thoughts for us before we get out of here?
I don't. Everyone enjoy a happy dad. Enjoy Suga Sean's win, baby.
Come on, baby. It's the Suga era. Hello.
Yes, sir.